how can you lead others if and be inspiring for others if you're not leading yourself? You are the CEO of your life. Make the most of your time now. Find meaning, find joy, find pleasure in your everyday life now. Take responsibility because no one else is going to do it for you. Being authentic and deciding to make an impact, I decided to embrace that part of myself. When I talk about conscious leadership, for me, it's actually about truly living your life.
Welcome to another episode of Fully Blooming. This week, I'm so excited to introduce and have on my podcast Frédérique Thiébaut. I met her a couple of weeks ago in London at a evening for women and entrepreneurs in this space held by Maud, who I've already had on the podcast. And we really clicked and connected about the same thing that we're passionate about, this conscious leadership and stepping into a new way of doing things. So I'll let her introduce herself and tell us a little bit more about what she does.
Thanks, Ola. So first, I'm very happy to be here with you. I'm always very happy and excited to share my mission. So who I am, I'm Frédérique. I'm French. I've been in London for the past 17 years, and I'm the mother of a 10-year-old girl. I worked in HR for 16 years in various sectors, industries, and then I discovered the magic of coaching. I had a manager in a previous job who was a coach, and she was coaching me now one-to-ones. And I thought, wow, the impact on me is amazing. I was getting out of my comfort zone and trying new things and progressing very quickly. So I decided to learn coaching. I did a coaching school and left the corporate world in 2019, so 5 years ago, to start my own coaching practice. And now I do this full time. So I'm an executive coach. I work with senior executives, founders, senior leaders who want to make a positive impact.
And when you say positive impact, what do you mean by that? Because I think there's
Mm.
so many different interpretations of it at the moment. So yeah, what's your...
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good question. And it's a question I had to ask myself as well. What do I mean by this? How do I define positive impact? And actually, it's any kind of impact that seems positive to you and it's aligned with your values. It doesn't have to be about changing the world. That's great if you do, but it's also just being the most aligned version of yourself so that you feel good with yourself and therefore you're going to bring that beautiful energy around you. So for people you love, people you work with, and all your actions are going to be a lot more high vibe. And that's a positive impact for me.
We spoke about conscious leadership when we were together. So if someone is thinking, okay, I kind of understand this, positive impact, and maybe it's to do with sustainability or kind of well-being, but when it's conscious leadership, what's kind of the extra thing? What makes it conscious?
Mm. So I'm the founder of a method, a framework called the Conscious Leaders Path. And there are three shifts, three steps, if you want, that are necessary to be, in my view, a conscious leader. The first one is authenticity, is about being your true self. The second one is about energy, how you manage your energy level, how you bring this magnetism to the world. And the third one is impact. So conscious leadership is also about making that positive impact, engaging people around you so that they follow you, but you do this from an authentic place and you don't burn out while doing this.
Mm. And I think those words authentic and aligned are so uh, closely joined and
Mm.
linked. And I know I spoke with Maud as well, and it comes up so much like, what is aligned action and how do I make sure I'm aligned? So if someone is curious and maybe is a senior exec or founder and is kind of, I want to try something different, but where do I even begin? There's these three steps. Of course, they can work with you to work through it. But what if okay, I kind of understand each little individual thing, but how can they take that first step into something like this?
So, well, of course, they can come and work with me or join my program where we dive into each single one of those pillars. But I would say the first one is about raising your awareness of who you truly are. who you truly are before all the programming, the conditioning that we get, with education, with our parents, with our teachers, first jobs, etc. So reconnecting with that part of you that's raw, that's your pure essence. So to make it tangible, it's working on your values. What are your top three values, for example? So your critical needs in your everyday life, and how do you implement a system to live by them so that it's realistic?
I absolutely, and kind of asking those core questions to yourself: who am I, and what do I want to do, and what impact do I want to make? And have over the last 5 years, I mean, you started before COVID, so have you seen a increase in interest or a shift since that lovely year of 2020? Or
Um, yeah, it's interesting because I started my business end of 2019, and then the pandemic started, lockdown, and people had all this time to think about, okay, what's the meaning of my life? What shall I do with my work, etc. And so my practice suddenly, whoop, it went uphill very quickly. So that was great. I think it won't be a surprise to you, but I really see a rise in consciousness. I think humanity is getting wiser, more intuitive, more attuned with all those extra sensorial gifts that we have, and willing to recreate heaven on earth. I know right now with what's happening in the world, it's challenging to believe this, but we do say that when the light is about to, arise, then the shadow really tries one last time to to fight for its space. So yeah, I think we're going in the right direction. It's about having faith, keeping faith.
mm, absolutely. And I guess my next question would be, if, yeah, you're in a position where you know you want to make an impact, you know your why, you know your values, but maybe, yeah, you're going through a tough time, or you're really taking on what is going around in the world at the moment. How do you come back to yourself, or how would you
Mm,
recommend, managing that energy when around us is so much to, yeah,
yeah.
handle?
It is tricky, and I truly believe, and this is why it's one of the pillar in my method, is about self-care and managing your own energy level. And everyone is different, so what may work for you may be different for me. So I'm a big, I love, I'm a big fan of meditation, breath work, all those recentering practices. But for some people, it will be more around movement and exercising and whatever activity you can do that help you reconnect with yourself and entering a state of flow where you are disconnected from what's happening outside. You don't see time passing by, and you become your higher self when you are doing those activities. But it means being disciplined enough to make that time.
Mm,
And that's the biggest pain point of most of my clients, is making the time. Often they have lots of responsibilities. They run big projects, they have teams, they have big budgets also that they are responsible for. They have family responsibilities, they have children, picking them up, blah, blah, blah. And all of this together, it's really hard. Plus the pressure that we get from society to be constantly in our masculine energy, performing, being the best, and forgetting to take time to replenish. Um, so yes, I truly believe that self-care and being disciplined enough, it's self-leadership, that self-leadership piece where you are going to take care of your energy. Mm.
mm. I love that, actually, that self-leadership, that you might be a leader in your industry, in your business, but actually it starts with you. It has to. And that
How
can
can you
sometimes
lead?
be the
Yeah,
hardest thing.
I know. And how can you lead others if and be inspiring for others if you're not leading yourself? It starts with you always.
Absolutely. And perfectly leading into my next question of, yeah, when you see that people have potentially gone through your 3 steps or worked with you, what are the impacts not only on their own lives, but on the teams that they're working with?
Oh, it's amazing. Um, on them first is just the feedback I receive. Most of the time is first, I feel more alive than ever. I feel younger. I have more energy. So, that's really nice. I had a client actually one day who told me it has nothing to do with the coaching we did together, but I've lost 10 kilos. We worked together for 6 months. And we never talked about her weight. She was a bit overweight, but it was never one of the topics in our coaching sessions. But the fact that she realigned to her true self, she was taking care of herself naturally. She didn't go on a diet, but she stopped eating compulsively and she adopted more healthy habits when it came to eating. So that was great. And the impact on others, on their teams is just teams who are more engaged, who are not going to leave. Maybe team members who are saying, "Well, I'm looking for jobs outside. The absenteeism level drop, and they feel psychologically safe at work because they have a leader who, being true to him or herself, dares to be vulnerable. So suddenly, those teams." They have the permission to try new things, to speak up for what they believe in, etc. And also a positive impact on their loved ones. I had the husband of a client one day who emailed me to say thank you.
Wow.
That was really nice. Thank you. I feel like my wife she's like the woman I met 20 years ago.
Oh, wow. Goosebumps.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool.
Wow. Yeah. So I think, and it's the same whether you're in a leadership position or whether you just want to take some leadership within your own life. It's as soon as you reconnect back to that core essence of yourself, you start to shine. You're not trying to be anyone else,
Mm,
and other people can feel that. And it's that magnetism that we all talk about and know, but it's that, yeah, feeling that I can just be in myself and just
mm.
be, and things will start to happen around us, and the people will be attracted to us. So I think that's magic, and for other people to see it as well. It's a nice little pat on the back.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love the fact that you talk about shining your light because at the end of the day, it's about that. I truly believe that we were born on earth to shine our light, that each single one of us is unique and is rich of their life experiences, but also beliefs, dreams, desires, personality traits. And all of this mix creates a unique person who is wonderful and who has something to bring to the world. Um, and I think that you're truly successful in life when you manage to finally shine your light and not be afraid of it because it's scary. It's,
Mm-hmm.
the fear of being judged, fear of being rejected, fear of being humiliated. It's really tough to accept and embrace all parts of ourselves and shine. Mm.
Absolutely. And the workshop that you hosted last week, that I think you'll be hosting another one in December, little plug in there. But one of the gentlemen on there, he said, I think I created a very safe workspace
Mm,
because I feel that I'm myself and I can be vulnerable and I'm very honest with my team and there's no kind of, yeah, hiding around the shoulds or, oh, it
mm.
has to be this way. And that was actually really inspiring, the way that he spoke about it. And so there are people already doing it out there. But have you found that there's been a bit of resistance when you go into these places? I guess people get in touch with you because they want to work with you, but have you felt any resistance to kind of not a different way, but a maybe alternative or more in tune way of doing things?
Yeah, absolutely. So people who come to my workshop or individuals who decide to work with me, it's because they already believe in that or they are inspired by that. But I
Mm.
also have a lot of corporate clients where I go to deliver training courses around leadership and well-being. And this is where I meet people who they haven't really signed up for that course, let's say. It's the employer sending them to this course. And this is where it's interesting because there are some sectors where clearly it's a traditional, old-fashioned way of leading others. So it's less and less, luckily, but you have some people who believe that it's about controlling, it's about dominating, it's about giving directions, and yeah, there's no psychological safety. They don't actually believe in psychological safety. They don't believe that everyone has something to bring and something to share. So I love that challenge actually because when you deep dive with them individually, in a one-to-one, you realize that actually there's a big lack of self-love. Um, it's often men, I have to say, who are in their 50s and they've never been taught to listen properly to themselves and to give themselves what they need. And when you manage to reach the little boy inside of them, suddenly it's like, wow, you're cracking the shell. And,
Mm.
and it's beautiful because, yeah, this is where I have a big impact, I feel. Mm.
And that's a testament to you working and on yourself as well. You know, if they feel safe enough for you to hold that space for them to be that vulnerable and potentially tell you or open up to things that they've never spoken about with anyone else. That's such a testament to you. So that's incredible. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I spent years, on therapy, coaching. So I'm glad it's paying off now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I guess what you just said of, it's a certain demographic of people that you see that there's this resistance to. And if, again, going back to if someone is listening to this, they're in that demographic, they're potentially already, oh, okay, there's something in this. And maybe if they don't feel that it's the right time to talk to a therapist or a coach or something, is there something that they can just do individually that can just maybe every day 5 minutes to themselves or something that you would suggest just to start, yeah, doing it themselves in a way?
It's a good question. I want to go back to self-love because I believe that's the basis of everything else. You need a certain level of self-love to feel better in all areas of your life. And I actually believe that if there was more self-love in the world would be a much better place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there are two things for self-love. The first one is reconnecting with your true self, your values, etc., and accepting this. So I would encourage people to do that piece of work. But the second thing is often we need external validation to love ourselves more. We need, others to tell us that we are a good person, we deserve love, etc. So something easy that you can do is create a folder on your laptop, on your computer, and you put in this folder all feedbacks, emails where you got thank you, recognition, things like this that make you feel good. And when you have a day where you feel down, and we all have those, just go and read those, or photos or moments of happiness, but just to remember your worth, your value, and remember that you are loved and you are bringing so much to this world.
I love
And it,
that.
and
Yeah.
again, it doesn't have to be a big thing. Just the fact that you allowed someone in your team maybe to get a promotion or accepted some holidays from someone who really needed to go back to their home country or something like this. That's beautiful.
I love that. I've got a little folder on my phone of screenshots of that and little messages that people have sent me and things. And yeah, especially in those days where you think I'm a terrible person, no one loves me. We've all been there.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Just to kind of, even if you don't fully believe it, just to kind of put something into your mind and think, okay,
Mm,
there's not, this isn't the whole truth.
yeah.
I believe it's the truth, but it's not the whole truth right now.
Mm.
So yeah, incredibly powerful little things. Thank you. And for example, if there is someone in a team who is really interested in kind of what we're talking about and this conscious leadership and really tuning into themselves and potentially feeling that actually their safe space or the workplace that they're in isn't a safe space.
Mm.
And is it enough to say, go and find a different, we know it's not as easy as that, just to go and find a different job. But if, yeah, maybe they're not in a leadership position, but they're in a team that they don't feel supported, how can they kind of support themselves and maybe try to open up the team to a different way of doing things?
Mm. I believe it's important to feel empowered when this happens because it's easy to put yourself in the position of a victim. If you are in an environment that's not right for you, where you don't feel good, it's really easy to say they are bad, it's all their fault, I'm doing the best I can, etc. And maybe it is true, but you are always in the driver's seat, especially when we live in our countries, in Europe, where there's no war, we have access to health, food, etc. You are the CEO of your life. So at one point, you have to be brave enough. You have to take some courage and decide what's best for you. So maybe it means resigning. Maybe it means having some courageous conversations. Maybe it's about speaking up and daring to be vulnerable, and say, listen, this doesn't work for me, or I'd love you to, do it this way or that way. But don't stay stuck, because very quickly you'll be at the end of your life. And it's easier to understand this when we grow older, but honestly, life, or you could die tomorrow as well. So make the most of your time now. Find meaning, find joy, find pleasure in your everyday life now. So act on it. Don't wait.
Mm, absolutely. I love that. I love the
Mm.
empowerment of that. Like, right, we're taking this and running with it. Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. And I think that's such a critical part. Don't fall into that victim mode. We
Mm.
can have, a day of self-pity and kind of, but then it's actually, okay, if I don't like this, what can I do to change it? And what do I need
Yeah.
to do?
Take responsibility because no one else is going to do it for you. And I was talking with a friend about this morning, actually, the role of reparenting ourselves, when we feel in a situation where it's comfortable. It's nice to be a victim sometimes. But
Absolutely.
actually, if you want to be a leader, if you want to live a meaningful life, you have to be an adult, and the little girl, the little boy that's inside of you, tend to their needs and reparent yourself. So it's like you call in the adult within you, take the little girl, the little boy by the hand, saying, "Okay, I'm here now. I'm listening to you. I'll give you what you need, but I am leading the way."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the combination of the both of not letting the
Mm.
little child take over, but also, yeah, having some play in our adult lives as well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
And I know we spoke a little bit about this when we met that, I think you said it in such a beautiful way and I'll ruin it, but it was something like there's, a lot of people in leadership positions who are almost not afraid of their spirituality or that connection, but it's a little bit, yeah, they're a little bit away from it, and don't want to kind of embrace that. Or if they do, they don't embrace it in the workplace. And
Mm.
yeah, if you could touch a little bit upon that, because I think it's such an interesting topic.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I know we connected through this together, and yeah, it's actually one of my values, spirituality, and I come from the corporate world. So, I'm an executive coach. I work with I would say 70% of my clients are corporates. So spirituality and corporate, they don't really work hand in hand most of the time. But being authentic and deciding to make an impact, I decided to embrace that part of myself. So I, I did my spiritual coming out on LinkedIn one day. I did a video where I was sharing how it became important for me to have that intentional life, conscious life, blah, 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 talking about breath work. And I got some really positive feedback after this. And I find that most people have a spiritual side. Um, Most of my clients do resonate with what I share. And actually, if they decide to work with me, it's because
Mm,
it resonates with them. Um, but I like to provoke people a bit, and I've been confronted with death several times in my life, and this is what has put me on a spiritual path. So not my own death, but my sister died 13 years ago. My brother-in-law, who was like a brother to me, died 2 years ago. I had several losses like this where I developed some intuitive gifts, let's say, and where it really helped me to take a step back. And I see how important it is to understand that we're connected to something bigger, that we have a role to play on Earth. We have a mission to play. Everyone has. And so I like to provoke my clients and tell them, imagine that you're going to die tomorrow, or imagine you're 90 years old and you're looking back. What would you tell yourself now in 2024? And this is often it triggers something inside of them, and they realize, yes, actually, my life is more than just, getting on the tube, going to the office, coming back at night, making dinner, and going to bed after having watched Netflix. There's something more. Um, and people are scared by this because suddenly it's like, it's such a big and broad theme. And you don't really know there's so much uncertainty. You don't know what you're going to uncover.
Mm.
But at the same time, people love it because it brings this mystical um, aspect that we need in our life as well.
Mm. Absolutely. And I've yeah, found it myself. It's that kind of, yes, taking responsibility for ourselves and also knowing when to kind of step back, and that the word surrender to something bigger. And it's, yeah, for me, it's given me quite a lot of peace in those really hard times where I kind of feel like I've done absolutely everything and I don't know what else to do. And then it's like, just
Mm,
take a step back. There is something bigger at
mm,
play. So, however you connect it, and I think it's becoming the language, the rhetoric around it is becoming so much more commonplace. I
yeah.
mean, you kind of see it on the tube, or I don't know,
Mm,
people are really picking up on it. So I think moving on further in the years, and as we're, yeah, the planet is shifting anyway, and consciousness, it's going to become a lot more normal for
yeah.
people just to kind of be like, yeah, I do this and this and this. It's like, cool, I do this. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I remember 15 years ago when I was working in HR. I was a HR BP in a tech company. And it was really cool in our HR department. We could really innovate and bring new things, which is rare in HR usually. And I asked if I could organize some meditation sessions, mindfulness sessions with, employees, and I was said yes. And but it seemed like something very woo woo, and that
Mm,
was like 15 years ago. And now most companies do offer that kind of benefits. So it's crazy how quickly it has changed in a good way.
absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. And everywhere is wellness, or there's a sector of the business that is dedicated to wellness or things.
Mm.
So no, absolutely. Yeah, it's magic. It's exciting. It's an exciting time.
And thanks for the pandemic for this, because I believe that the crisis of COVID-19 has really accelerated this consciousness of well-being, the importance of well-being.
Mm, absolutely. And so, and I guess by embracing your own spirituality and coming out of the closet, as you said on LinkedIn and things, that was you embracing your truth, your authentic self,
Mm,
and allowing yourself to shine. And then also, I think once you do that, it allows the platform for other people to also step up, because you sometimes you have to be that leader in doing
mm,
that. I think, as you said, it's when you start this, it can be a Pandora's box. There can be so much that you realize that you've been living out of alignment or not in line with your values. So and if someone's kind of on that tipping point of, oh, I'm about to open that box, and just anything else that you would want people to have a think about and just think, okay, this is worth it.
mm. It's really hard to explain how worth it is,
Mm,
because you don't know what you don't know. So until you have experimented it, you don't realize how um, elevating and how beautiful it is. So I can just share my own experience, where since I've been doing, this work, and it's a journey, it's never ending, but since I started to live a more aligned life, I've never been so happy in my life. And often people tell me, but you're always so positive, you have so much energy. When you arrive in the room, you're like sunshine. And it's very nice, it's very flattering, but and I'm not pretending anything. It's a testimony to um how beneficial it is to live in that way. So work on your values, be authentic, manage your energy level, and be at service, make an impact, being true to yourself.
mm. And I want to touch one more time upon that authenticity. And I think the word that came to me when you did your coming out on LinkedIn was that the word bravery, because it is
Mm,
so scary. We've got the witch wound for women, and you're going to be
mm.
cast off as a witch, and all of these things. And if you feel that fear, if you feel, I really want to share this because this is a big part of my life. And of course, you don't have to share everything, but there is, this is me and my authentic self. How would you suggest for people to get out of that fear and to just dive in?
It's the fear of being seen, I think.
Mm.
That fear of shining too bright, of being seen. I still have it. Again, yesterday I was in an environment where I was with a group of people who were clearly not on the same wavelength, and I know I'm being criticized for some of my life choices, etc. And it hurts. It's not easy. So I think it's about managing your emotions, right? Observing yourself, identifying the emotions that are rising, managing them. And there are lots of wonderful techniques, hypnosis, EFT, tapping, breath work is my favorite one. And and I think bringing back some joy and fun, remembering that all of this is actually just a game. So have fun with this. Don't take yourself too seriously. Don't take others too seriously either. Respect them, of course, and respect yourself, but at the end of the day, I'm talking about how life goes quickly and death. I'm talking about this a lot, but because this is what has put me on this journey,
Mm.
and death is almost my best friend now. I have a lot of gratitude for death because I realize how lucky I am to be alive. And it helps me to take a step back and therefore embracing who I truly am and showing up how I am.
Mm. I think that comes across very, very clearly. You do shine. And even with the camera, if you're watching it on YouTube, you are shining.
Like,
Oh, I
well, I
love
have,
that.
yeah.
All the sunshine. And any final thoughts or words that you wanted to kind of share about what you do in conscious leadership and the importance of it?
I'm going to repeat myself, but just that we're so lucky to be alive, and it's such a shame not to live fully our life fully. And when I talk about conscious leadership, for me, it's actually about living. It's about truly living your life. Um, so yeah, I encourage everyone to be more a self-leader first, be the CEO of your life, get back in the driver's seat of your life. And then once you've realized what makes you tick, you know, go and make that impact. Mm.
Mm, I love that. Yeah. It all starts with yourself, and then you can see the ripple effect
Yeah,
afterwards.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And hence fully blooming, fully bloom into who that you're here to be and fully live that life, and be your authentic self. So thank you for summarizing that in such a beautiful way.
We have the same mission, you and I. It just takes
Mm.
different forms or shapes, but we are on the same, yeah, we have the same mission.
Absolutely. Oh, it was. I remember walking into that event on that Tuesday, and I think you were the first person that I spoke to, and I thought, of course. And
Does
you said,
make
oh, what?
sense.
And you said, what do you do? And I said, and I could just see you nodding, and you were like, yep.
We speak
So
the same language.
absolutely, and
Mm.
hopefully more and more people will start speaking the same language too. So thank you very, very much, and I'm going to attach all of your details in the description below. And I don't know if you're hosting the workshop.
Yes, so 17th of December at 12:30 p.m. UK time. It's a free workshop for 1 hour, and it's a taster. It's not a sales pitch. It's really to give a taster of what is the Conscious Leaders Path, like the group program.
Mm. And I highly recommend. I only caught about 15 minutes of it, but even in that 15 minutes, the people that it attracted as well, really like-minded people and really interesting conversations. So yeah, I highly recommend that. And you can also work one-to-one
Mm,
with Frédérique.
that's right. Yeah, people can contact me, and we have a 45 minutes call to, explain what I'm doing, understand where they are at, and I can give them some guidance and see if it matches how we can work together.
Perfect. Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm sure people will be in touch.
Thank you, Ola. Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much.